small business grant program. So what I intend to do today is got just a few slides here to run through um, eligibility and some questions that we've gotten and so on. And then I'm going to jump to the actual online application form, the one that will be live on November 4th at 10 a.m. And we're going to walk through it. What I really want to do is get everybody fully understanding the required information they will need to have ready to upload along with their application. And so I'm going to jump into that right now. This is a one-time opportunity for a one-time $10,000 grant as a result of the CARES relief funds that Johnson County received. So it's targeting Johnson County small businesses. We have $13.5 million has been allocated to the program. We'll give those out in $10,000 increments. So we're going to give out 1,350 grants to Johnson County small businesses in hopes of helping them continue to deal with the COVID crisis that we have today. There are 3 criteria to be eligible. One, in Johnson County, and you're going to have to provide us some form of documentation to validate that. And the reason it has to be validated is because those are the requirements of the CARES funds allocated from the Treasury Department to the county to be distributed. So we have to validate this information, which requires us to require you to upload some information. So you can see a lease, rental agreement, utility bill, anything you filed with the state of Kansas that shows your business name and address in Johnson County will suffice. And you'll see on the application itself, when you answer the question of, are you located in Johnson County? It's going to ask you right then and there to upload that file. Secondly, this is intended for small business. So we have set this up to be for businesses between 1 and 50 employees. And you will need to upload an employee roster, but all that is needed is a first name and last name. Do not need nor want social security numbers, addresses, phone numbers, anything along those lines. First name, last name to show this, to verify the number of employees that you say your business has. Third and final criteria, you have to show a $10,000 economic impact as a result of COVID. And when I say economic impact, I mean it can be either or a combination of the two. Either show us that you had revenue loss year over year, March 1 to October 30, compared to that same time period in 2019. And you can show us that with a simple QuickBooks P&L document showing your revenue in that time period, anything showing sales loss in that time period will suffice as well. That's and then on the expense side, we do need to see to verify you incurred the expenses and you paid the expenses, and they need to be COVID related. So they cannot be general business expenses. Now that said, if you show a revenue loss, or in case in a retail environment, maybe you had to shut down, you can show us rent as an expense because you couldn't be in business during that time period as well, but you'll have to coincide, that will have to coincide with the revenue loss. If you just show us rent as an expense with no revenue loss, then it looks like we're just paying a normal monthly expense for you, and that would violate the terms of the CARES Act. And the applications will be audited after we've given out the grants. So we have to collect this information. So we're advising folks, get all these documents, get them scanned into 3 different files, one showing your business location, one showing your employee roster, and one showing your revenue loss and or expenses. And then in that file, if you want to scan all those invoices, receipts, payments, and scan in your P&L that shows revenue loss, you can have that in one single file. And so you'll have 3 files that will need to be uploaded when you apply. And you'll see that here in just a few minutes. So people have asked, what are the COVID related expenses? Any expense you've incurred that can be directly related. So you purchased PPE for your staff or for the office and sanitation equipment and so on. If you're a restaurant and you purchased, I was at one in Johnson County recently, they had the deal where I had to hold my wrist up to read the temperature and so on. All those are valid expenses. If you had to modify your office environment, separate desks, put up partitions, buy plexiglass, those are all valid expenses. I'm reminding people, if your workforce suddenly became remote and you had expenses related with increasing your bandwidth into your office, or having to buy iPads, laptops, VPN, so people could access securely back into the office, and the IT company that installed or worked with you on that. All of those are valid expenses that you can show to get you to the $10,000 required to be eligible for the grant. The only stipulation is, let's take payroll, for instance. If you reimbursed your payroll with a PPP loan for April, May, and June, you cannot use April, May, and June payroll expense for this grant. You could use July, August, September, but you cannot use, if the expenses have been reimbursed by another CARES program, you're not eligible to use these for this grant. People have asked, if I got a PPP or a Spark loan or an EIDL loan or any other program, does that eliminate me from this grant? It does not. You are still eligible to apply. Again, it's just you cannot use the same expenses or the same time period to show your revenue loss that you use for those programs. And I should have said up front, if you have questions, please, you can enter them in the chat, and Kevin knows he can interrupt me at any time. I just soon take them as they come in, as opposed to waiting till the end. We will open the application website portal on November 4th at 10 a.m. And all of the applications will be timestamped when they're completed. And that's the selection process. If you meet eligibility requirements and you're in the first 1,350, you will receive a grant. We are anticipating more applications than we will be able to give out grants. So again, have your information already scanned and into files that you can easily access when you go through the application. People have asked, if I start it and stop it, it'll save it, but it doesn't timestamp it until you've completed your application. So nobody can just jump in and enter a line and then not come back for a while. You've got to complete, submit, and then it'll be timestamped. As I mentioned, it's 1,350 are available. It's first come, first served. We will review to verify eligibility for all those. We will probably accept up to 3,000 applications, and then we'll turn the site off. Therefore, we know we will have enough. If some that are in the first 1,350 don't qualify, we'll just go to the 51, 52, 53, and down the line. The funds have to be distributed by regulations from Treasury December 30th, but our intention is to verify and get the checks out, the grants out into people's hands as early December as possible. Okay, questions on this, I'll be happy to answer. Also, as we go through this, or later, if a question pops in your head, you feel free to send an email to info@ecjc.com. We have a group of us here that are responding to those, and we continue to get them. So don't hesitate to send a question. We'll get you back an answer as soon as possible. We have on the ecjc.com website our frequently asked questions document and a Word version of the online application. It doesn't look exactly from a format standpoint as the one I'm going to show you, but it has all the information you'll need to complete your application. So we put that out there so you could be prepared prior to November 4th. So I'm going to jump. Kevin, do we have anything in the chat? Because
we don't have anything in there right now. I do have a question for you, Jeff.
Sure.
You know, you guys pretty sure your servers can handle this?
We are using a third party.
Okay.
It's the same you'll see. Kevin, can you see my screen now that says right in the middle should say EC Enterprise Center, Johnson County?
Right now, I'm still seeing the PowerPoint.
Huh. Well, I'm going to stop sharing and share again.
And anybody on the call, if you have questions, just go in the Q&A bar. You should have that or something like that on your screen. So just type them in there and we'll be glad to answer them.
What do you see now?
Now I see something says, welcome to the small
Good.
business application.
So this is the actual application, and you'll see in the link up above the word Form Stack. That's the third-party company that we've used. It's the same one that the state of Kansas used for their Spark program, and they
Okay.
have done similar work for a number of municipalities, states across the country with distributing CARES funds. So we outsourced the platform to them for that reason alone, Kevin. We didn't have the infrastructure here to be we would probably be overwhelmed when we release it. They certainly can handle the volume that we expect to get in here.
Now
So
go ahead.
No,
I was going to say, I got a question here. Will the PowerPoint be emailed to the folks on the call?
Kevin, I can get it to you.
Okay.
Get it out. How about
Okay.
that? Okay.
That came from Mark Johnson. So Mark, we will get that and send that on to everyone who's on the call today.
So I'm actually in the application. You're going to get this open message here that gives you a brief description, talks about the grants, and you're going to click the start. And it's going to remind you what the eligibility requirements are, located in Johnson County, 1 to 50 employees, and then at least a $10,000 economic impact. And as you scroll down, the question is, are you located in Johnson County? When you say yes, it's going to ask you to upload that documentation. So that's why I'm saying have it scanned, have it in a file on your computer, and you're going to click and upload that, whether it's a utility bill, first page of your lease agreement, a certificate from the state with your business name and address, any of that will suffice. Then you're going to tell us how many employees. And so as you do that and move forward, it's going to say the same thing. Please upload a file that includes your first and last name of your employees. Again, that's it. It can be spreadsheet, Excel, whatever you want to do, just first name, last name. And then finally, did you incur economic impact? So here is where, if it's expenses, your file is going to need to contain the receipts and proof of payment. If it's revenue loss, you're going to need to provide a financial document that we can compare 2020 over 2019, and you're going to upload that. Those are the only 3 documents, or files, I should say, that you need to upload. From here, you're just going to go straight into the application. And we've designed that to be straightforward, and you should be able to answer the rest of the items pretty much with knowledge in your head. But if you want to be prepared and have these written out, fine. We need your name, the business. If you operate under a different, if you're set up as an LLC under one name but operate under a different trade name, we ask for that. We are asking if you are a minority or woman-owned business or veteran-owned business. This does not have an impact on who gets grants. This is just for reporting purposes. So we're simply asking the question, and we made these yes, no. We've tried to make all of these as straightforward as possible. If you applied for a Spark grant with the state of Kansas, they had some questions that required sort of essay. We do not. So then it's, when did you start your business? Give us a contact number that is somebody we know, we can reach in case we have to reach out and have questions to verify anything. Again, same thing with the email. Make sure it's one that you respond to quickly. Fill in your address, city, state, zip, straightforward. We're asking you what type of business entity. So LLC, S Corp, C Corp. If you're a sole proprietorship and you do not have a business EIN or DUNS number, you do need to give us your social security number. Otherwise, we don't want it. So if you're a sole proprietorship that has an EIN, give it to us. If you're an LLC or anything else, we won't ask for that.
Hey, I have another question when I saw that. I saw a 501c3, another, we have several members, including the chamber, that are 501c6 nonprofits. Yeah, so would they pick other, or?
You know what, Kevin, I will go back and change that to either or. Because it doesn't matter to us whether you're C3 or C6.
Because I just know we have several C6s in the chamber, so.
I should have caught that. My apologies.
Not a problem.
Then you're going to move to what industry? So pick the one that most applies to your business. Okay. We're asking you from the expense side, what was it related to? So you would just simply click to us the ones that it needs to sync up with the data you provided. So if you said, for instance, I had $4,000 in required modifications, you would put $4,000 in that slot. Okay, pick all those that apply or none that, others that don't apply. The only time we ask for more is if you do check other, we ask you to give us a brief description of what it is. We do have to verify that the grant is going for COVID-related expenses, which is why we ask. Here, if you're gonna turn in a revenue loss, we ask you for the amount, and that should sync with the documentation you provided. So you would simply enter the amount and move forward because we've already got your documentation. Now we're going to ask you, I'm sorry, I lost train of thought there. Oh, how will you use the funds? So have to be used directly related to COVID-19. So that's why we're asking, tell us what you're going to use them for. If it's inventory or equipment, it has to be directly related to COVID-19. It cannot be, I just decided to buy a case of paper clips and office supplies. Those are not directly related to it. Okay.
But like you said, if you had to buy laptops for your remote workers, things like that, that would qualify.
You know, this is a pretty straightforward, you know, COVID related or not. Then we're asking you, did you receive funds from other programs? This does not eliminate you at all. It's strictly more for reporting so we can all see, hey, how effective have some of the other programs been? Have you taken advantage of them? Not taken advantage, excuse me. Have you capitalized on the opportunity to use those? And when you check any, we just want to know an amount, and that's it. You do not have to give us any documentation behind it. And then you need to verify for us the expenses and revenue loss you're showing for this grant have not been reimbursed by any other program. So you would simply click the box. As you move on, you're at the end now. Just give us your name, title, again, a phone number to reach you, email address. If you would like us to make you available to other organizations who may have funding opportunities for you, check the box. If not, has no bearing on your application. And then we're going to ask you just to take your cursor, sign, and submit. And I'm going to hit submit, and you're going to see this is going to take me back to everywhere that I didn't do what I was supposed to. So I didn't fill in any of this. So it won't let you submit it without completing it fully. So again, have your information. I'm going to get back here. Have your information, documentation scanned, 3 files you'll need. You see where it's going to ask you to upload them, and then you'll be set to fill out the rest. Hit the submit button. It's time stamped, and you go in the queue. And we all hope that you'll be in the first 1,350. So that's the actual application. Questions? Wow.
You are doing a great job. Apparently, these guys are really
well. It's
totally
it's
got
only
their
about
head
the
around
7th
it.
or 8th in the last 3 days, so you think I'd get good at it? That doesn't
You would
mean
think.
I am. You think I would?
Well,
be.
and I commend you guys for really doing a good job to make it as simple as possible. I know we've been talking for quite some time about what this is going to look like, and I think you've done a good job of making it pretty straightforward and simple. It's a matter of how fast can people type.
Well, and I promise you, I tried to lobby with the county not to have to collect any data whatsoever, but you cannot, with the CARES or guidelines and so on, you have to verify eligibility requirements. We originally thought of a 2-step process, just apply. And then if you're in the first 1350, we would get back and ask for the information. But I had 3 different groups who have done this say, don't do that. It's gonna take you too long to track down people, wait for the information. And we want to get these grants out as quickly as possible. So that's why we are asking that you have this ready, sitting there, click it, upload it, be done with it. And when you qualify, we can tell you qualified and give you a realistic estimate of when to expect a check to arrive for $10,000.
Gotcha. And on the revenue side, again, just kind of showing maybe year-to-date comparative financial information, basically, for the last year and this year.
I think QuickBooks has a pretty simple kind of P&L statement you could run for those time periods.
Yeah.
So if you ran it for March 1 through October 31, 2020, and ran it for 2019, you just scan those two in and send it to us.
Right.
We don't need to see any net income, even any of that stuff.
Just the revenue categories that dropped, basically.
Because the program allows us to reimburse for revenue loss. So we need to have documentation showing you had revenue loss.
Okay. A lot of folks here probably have that available, so it should work.
Good.
Anybody else got any questions? I'm kind of sad that my role as moderator has not been very exciting.
Well, maybe non-exciting means maybe we've answered all the questions.
Let's hope that's right. Let's hope that's right. So Chiefs this week, we're gonna win again. What's your prediction?
Well, I did see we were 19-point favorites, which is pretty scary.
That is scary.
An indication of how bad the Jets are, but I would hope that we might have a stress-free, injury-free victory onto the next week.
That would be ideal, wouldn't it? And COVID-free or low COVID. Let's put it that way.
I think all of us Chiefs fans live in fear that we're going to find out that Patrick didn't pass one of the COVID tests.
Yeah. So, here's a question. We got one here. Yay, somebody did one. Thank you. The EIDL $5,000 grant that pretty much anybody could get. It wasn't any qualified by any revenue loss or expenses. How do we verify that it wasn't used, or what kind of? Can we just say that we got it? Is that how that would work?
Yeah, you would say you got a $5,000 EIDL loan, and then you're going to check a box that tells me that was used for something other than the expenses or revenue loss you filed for this grant.
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds good. Nothing else? No reason to make everybody stay here on a Friday afternoon for hours on end, I suppose. And anybody, reach out to me. I know how to find Jeff. He tries to hide, but I can find him. So if anybody has any questions, reach out to me at kevinj@leewoodchamber.org, and I am happy to forward questions on to Jeff that might come up afterwards. Our hope and our dream is that I will be able to get this posted up to YouTube by Monday. So if anybody wants to review this or share it with anyone else, they can do so. Jeff, thank you for joining us today.
There's an email address in the chat for any questions as well. If you just want to type them in and send them, we've got 4 of us here checking that, responding quickly. So we'll get back to you ASAP.
Thanks, Jeff. Everybody have a good weekend. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Kevin. See you.
Bye-bye.